Welcome back and hello if you are new. I hope all of you guys are having a fantastic week so far. So this is no doubt surely one of the biggest releases of the year in the metal calendar. Today, well, soon today, Slipknot will be releasing their brand new album, The End So Far. So possibly, I think, one of the biggest metal bands on the planet, definitely since my time. Slipknot have amassed a total of 42 gold-selling albums and 12 platinum discs as well. Have been going for almost 30 years and been through all sorts of trials and tribulations. But the question is, what is Slipknot in 2022? And I personally think that a lot of fans feel like this band owes them Iowa 2.0 or, the self-titled record once again. So it brings me a lot of pleasure to say that this is completely different. So very much expect the unexpected as we delve into The End So Far.
Everything is gone online, and it's as evil as it gets. This is no fucking trick, either follow.
So, when it comes to themes on this record, there isn't necessarily one unifying principle, but it's more kind of each track has its own idea. They range from more macro topics on the subject of the Chapeltown rag, which kind of deals with the idea of news and, what is real news, and also to humanity's lack of empathy on the dying song, Time to Sing. But then it goes into the embracing of heavy metal communities, as we see on Hive Mind, and also the fact that you're not necessarily going to be liked by everyone on Hell or H377. But there's also a breaking of the fourth wall in many ways, in the idea of Finale, which looks at Slipknot as a kind of, an entity and everything they've done right up until this point. And then also Warranty, which essentially kind of looks fans straight in the eyes and says, isn't this what you came here for? Which is one of the lyrics, it's kind of like the understanding that everyone's always kind of like, well, I think Slipknot should sound like this or sound like that. And that's, I think, one of the biggest things about this record is that Slipknot just sound like Slipknot. Like, I really felt like there was an overarching kind of sonic theme on We Are Not Your Kind. But it was kind of a little bit sort of like an intro here and then this there and intro that and then, but I feel like on The End So Far, this has really been assimilated into the actual songwriting itself. And it literally starts from the word go. The first track is Adderall, which has more in common with 70s prog and Radiohead than it does with, the normal new metal kind of stompers that we're, very familiar with Slipknot. And then Acidic also kind of tackles the idea of kind of a blues song. And initially, I really didn't like it. I'll be totally honest. I didn't think that much of it. I was just kind of like, what is this? But then the more I listened to it, the more I kind of understood the fact that they are just trying something different. Yet, however, as much as there is experimentation on here, there are some creature comforts still. There's a lot of palm-muted tremolo picking and those kind of staccato drum sections that you would come to expect and love from Slipknot. So Heirloom and Hell is another one where these kind of almost sort of like, 3-0, the blister exists, that kind of vibe. But there's also kind of interesting vocal manipulation as well, particularly on the beginning and the end of Hive Mind and Medicine for the Dead as well, which kind of has a similar vibe to The Devil in Eye, I thought, but only the intro of The Devil in Eye. But this is also seriously heavy. I think that's really important to underline that Slipknot haven't kind of like mellowed in the fact that they're getting older. And the Chapeltown rag with those blast beats is a good example of that. But I have to say I really enjoy Warranty, mainly because it kind of addresses people directly. And it's, it's Corey Taylor on full blast. Like he's, rapping and doing all that sort of stuff that, he does normally, but there's that sort of sense of venom, the aggression is definitely, I think, paramount on that track for sure. Of course, though, one of Slipknot's ace in the holes, aside from those sort of atmospheres and that sort of carnival of horrors feel that we've kind of, I think really in the last sort of 3 albums they've started to create, is melody. And whilst I definitely didn't find this one immediate, 100%, once you kind of get there, the melodies are really, really kind of digging their hooks in. The highlights for me really kind of come in the form of Desard and Finale as well. Both of them have really melodic choruses that you can kind of, really remember. And particularly Finale, I think, is almost kind of prog in some ways. You know, it reminded me a little bit of Iron Maiden at the sort of intro and outro. I also think Heirloom might win the best guitar solo of the record. And Desard has a really cool little trade-off piece where I think there's like 4 or 5 solos, something like that, and they kind of bring in different melodies, different styles of soloing, diminished scales, and just keep things nice and interesting. But I also think there should be a special mention for bass, because I really think it's got more of a presence on this record. It kind of walks around a lot, if that makes sense, and also pushes the momentum forward. And the samplers, I think, are really interesting. Like I said, it's more kind of assimilated into the actual structure of the song. This is Slipknot not forgetting where they've come from in the past, but really beginning to, I think, embrace creative freedom once again. And it really surprised me, I'll be totally honest. But I will say this, give it time, because it took a while for me to kind of really get my head around it. There's a couple of wobbles in the form of Acidic with the bluesy sort of stuff, but that's to be expected if you're trying different things out, you know? So I hope you guys enjoyed this album review and that you might learn something a little bit different about this brand new album. It'd be great if you let me know what you think of the review and the record underneath me in the comments section. And make sure that you tune in next week for another album review. Take care, my friends, and I'll see you very soon.
But your life is in a tunnel. Let them say until you go.